All right, we will reconvene our meeting and we'll begin with our public hearings. Our first application is to request a general plan change in order to develop a self-storage facility on the property located at 4053 South, 7200 West. They felt this would be the least impactful use for the property given the residential is not an option due to the overpressure zone of ATK. And this application is also requesting setback requirements be eliminated as part of the development agreement for safety and security concerns. So we have three different action items associated with this: the general plan change, the zoning map change, and a development agreement. So we will open the public comment period or public hearing for this resolution. So is there anyone here that would like to speak to this issue? Yes. Okay. And just give us your name and address, please.
Paul Swenson, 1336 South 1000 East Salt Lake. Mayor, council members, Mr. Peely, Ms. Kamick. It's a pleasure to be here. And as mentioned, we are requesting a zoning change for the property located at 4053 South, 7200 West. My wife and I are founding members of Swenson Development. As we took a look at this, and unfortunately when residential was not available because of the problems, because that's near and dear to my heart, particularly because of my 19 grandchildren, we had to look at other options and what could we do. So, such as retail. Unfortunately, retail would be very awkward because of the location where it's at, and it's not on 3500 South. With the rise of remote work, the demand for office space is significantly declined. Industrial use, we didn't like what that would do to the neighborhood. We didn't want to disrupt things to the neighborhood. So we were looking at things that would be much more calm. So after careful consideration, we determined that storage facility would be the best suitable option. It is a quiet use that minimizes effect on neighbors while adding value to the community. So I'd like to talk about two things: quiet use. The most common items stored are clothing and furniture, which means that it's light vehicle traffic, not large trucks or anything like that. 25% of clients visit once a month. The other 75 visit once or twice a year. So the traffic is much less than even residential would be, or businesses. So we're trying to do something, again, that's light. Our project, and I think this is important, will restore the site to its natural grade such that it will reduce the heights of the buildings. We've agreed to that. A zero setback is also important because it will enhance safety and security. Swenson Development will work with the city and the neighbors to ensure a secure environment. Storage facilities are characterized by their minimal impact. I think we can safely say it is a quiet use. Now, regarding value, what value does it bring? Just a couple things I want to indicate. Research indicates that storage facilities add value by offering convenience and functionality. Quoting an article that was published last November, the availability and quality of self-storage solutions can significantly influence, my comments for the positive, property valuation. The presence of nearby accessible self-storage option adds a layer of convenience and functionality to properties, making them more attractive to potential buyers and renters. In fact, my wife and I have experienced that firsthand because we happen to have a property that is adjacent. It backs a storage facility, and it's been very positive with no problems. We also believe this project will bring significant value to West Valley City by maximizing potential tax revenue from the site to support internal needs. When looking at the map that was provided in your packet, there's not a storage facility right in that area. And the surrounding area, I'm sure you all know, is experiencing extreme housing growth, increasing the need for even more storage. Now, another side of value I want to look at is demand. Utah's demand for storage is 7.87 square feet per capita. West Valley fills that with 6.0. Magna, because we're on the border there, fills it at 5.9 in that growing area. So we've got 7.87 is the need. West Valley's at 6.0, Magna's at slightly under at 5.9. That's a 30% shortfall of need with an area that is growing. There is a need. I think we can say there's definitely a demand and a need. I believe we have shown that the storage is quiet use and adds value to the neighborhood and the city. If the rezoning is approved, we commit to adhering to city's codes and regulations and collaborating with community and city officials to ensure the project's success. Thank you for your time and considerations. I welcome your feedback and any questions you might have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak to this issue?
My name is Ruth Helvey. I live immediately to the east of this property. We paid a lot of money for our home. We're not going to be able to move. I'm caring for two disabled veterans. What we need is light, and this is going to be built right up next to our fence. They're talking about a 10-foot wall next to our fence. One of our problems is that there is no green space in this area. We get the noise from 7200 and the noise from 41. And right now we are currently more than like 2 blocks set back really from the road. And yet we get all of that because there's nothing in between us and the roads. No absorbing greenery, no, nothing. And I have a lot of neighbors who are very concerned that they're building right up next to our fences. And any kind of greenery would be helpful and it would reduce the noise, but it's not going to be helpful if it's a steel and concrete, whatever. The other concern I have is I realize this is probably going to get approved and I feel like I'm pushing against the tide, but no, when I spoke with the developer, he said that he was planning on putting in multiple stories. He is correct that there's nothing around here because this is all residential. And this property is on a hill that's like this. The property will be superior in 2 different directions. It's going from the north to the south and from the east to the west, it ascends. That means that this property is going to be above whatever is going on there. Multi-stories, which is what I have understood that this proposal is requesting, is not appropriate for an entirely residential area. Perhaps down on 35th South or 5600 where there are multi-story things, there is nothing in our area that's commercial that is multi-storied. That concerns me a lot. I understand West Valley City wants to do something with this property and it has been a problem with the dirt and the weird stuff that they've brought in and the garbage that they've left in the past. And so I understand the need to do something with it, but please remember the neighbors. Remember that this is a business and he's probably talking about a very flat area in Salt Lake City and not where the business is going to be superior to every neighbor there. So please keep that in mind as you're considering this proposal. We don't want our housing values to go down. We can't move. And that's about all I can say, but I hope that you'll consider that. We would prefer that it not be changed at all. I don't know how many of you would build, $100,000, $500,000 homes or higher. Ours was just shy of 700 and it was over that last year. And that having a manufacturing zoning area immediately behind my home can't especially in a superior position, can't help my home's value. It just cannot, regardless of what the developer says. I just don't believe it, especially if it's going to be in a superior position. There's a whole bunch of us neighbors that would really appreciate this not happening. I realize it probably will happen, but the multi-story thing is not appropriate for the neighborhood. It's not appropriate. I can't think of a single business. Well, let's put it this way. Most of the businesses are about a mile away. And this is a very residential neighborhood. The only thing that's there is across the street, you built a park, or they built the park. And that's the only thing there. You look at that map and it's residential. It's going to be 1 or 2 stories residential, but multi-story business is not appropriate for this area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason Green, 1544 East Green Road. I'm actually a general contractor, and if you look at storage in the past, if you do a 10-foot easement before you start your building, it ends up with homeless people sleeping there, trash, garbage, stuff like that. And we're only doing 2 stories, and it's not going to be close to their property. It's going to be close to the city property or by the street. So we're going to keep it low as far as the fence. If we need to go 6 or 10 feet, that doesn't matter to us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, anyone else wish to address this matter? Okay, we will close the public hearing. Mr. Pastrick, would you mind coming up and just explaining the development agreement and the reason for the 0 lot line? And I thought the developer said they were going to lower the grade, so help me out with that one as well.
Sure. Let me, I'll just pull up the agreement here. So in the development agreement, this is the Exhibit B. And looking at, trying to find the right line here. Yeah, so this is the second item in Exhibit B. It says the buildings along the north and east sides of the property may be placed at the property line. The height of the buildings placed at the north and east property line should be limited to 10 feet measured from the bottom of the existing fence along the north and east property line. So we were using the existing fence as kind of as a reference point because there has been fill that's been brought onto the site. So the idea is to remove the fill so that's where the buildings basically the slab starts is where the original grade was from the property or where the existing fence started, if that makes sense. And then again, the idea with the buildings being placed at property line, that would be an exception to the code. So normally in a manufacturing zone, you would actually have a 20-foot setback. In this case, again, for security concerns, the request is to put it right at property line. So you don't have this space that's sandwiched between a wall that would be required and then the building that would continue along all the east and north sides of the property.
Okay. Are there any questions from the council for Mr. Pastrick? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I was hoping I was understanding the grade change because that's one of my, Mr. Pastrick will attest, one of my things that I don't like happening is building up the property on the other side of a fence. So I'm glad that's going to be taken down to the original lot grade as it was originally. Okay, enough of my comments. I will turn ordinance 24-20, which is the general plan, to amend the general plan to show change of use from large lot residential to light manufacturing on this property. So to the council for discussion or a motion.
Mayor, I'm going to move to deny ordinance 24-20. Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any comments from the council? Okay, Ms. Kamick.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
No.
Councilman Nordfelt,
No.
and Mayor Ling.
No.
Motion for denial passes by majority.
Thank you. We'll now consider ordinance 24-21, which would amend the zoning map to show the change of the zoning to the council for discussion or a motion.
He didn't say anything legible, did he?
Nope, I think
Okay.
that was just forgot to put himself back on mute.
Likewise, I move to deny ordinance 24-21. Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic.
Councilman Nordfelt,
No.
Councilman Christensen,
No.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes by majority for denial.
Okay, and then we'll move to resolution 24-81, the development agreement to the council for discussion or a motion.
Motion to deny resolution 24-81.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
No.
Councilman Nordfelt,
No.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes by majority for denial.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move to our next public hearing, which is a general plan change. This general plan change is being proposed by the city, who currently owns the property located at 4063 South, 7200 West, and use it to store garbage cans for public works and to house larger animals by animal control. The change is being proposed for three main reasons. One, storage of the garbage cans is prohibited in the current zoning. Animals will still be able to be housed on the manufacturing zone. And three, the overpressure zone in this area does not allow for residential at the current, the current zoning is in practice. So I'll open the public hearing for any comments on this action. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and I'll turn ordinance 24-22 to the council for discussion or a motion.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-22.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We'll now move to ordinance 24-23, which will amend the zoning map to show a change of zone for this property. To the council for discussion or a motion.
Motion to approve ordinance 24-23.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We'll move to our final public hearing, which is to consider ordinance 24-24. This is our final budget opening for the 2024 fiscal year. Budget openings are done on a quarterly basis to make necessary amendments to the budget to reflect changes in increased revenues and authorize the disbursement of those funds. We'll now open the public hearing to the public. Is there anyone that wishes to speak on this issue?
have to keep the tradition on this. Jim Visock. She knows my address, so. Once again, I just want to, thank I see Jim and his crew for what they do on the reports, the supporting documents that they give. It makes it so much easier when you're trying to explain it to somebody else. Makes it easier for all of us when we have those details. And that's something that's progressively gotten even more information each time they put the budgets together. And once again, as I've done the last several openings, as I want to thank Jim and his group in the city for what they do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak to this one?
I'd also like to speak on the same behalf that the transparency I feel is very important. As I look past the past budget for past years, it is hard to identify and clearly understand where the theater lands and the theater's needs were in that budget versus the actual fiscal standpoint of where the theater was. The better that we have transparency and openness in all aspects of our city government, the better we are as a city and the better informed our citizens are. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and I'll turn ordinance 24-24 to the council for discussion or a motion.
Would motion to approve ordinance 2424.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to our ordinances, ordinance 24-25. This ordinance would amend city code to instruct citizens to limit remarks to city business during the public comment period. This would not change the length, allotted time, or frequency of public comments. So to the council for discussion or a motion for ordinance 24-25.
I move for approval of ordinance 24-25. Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
And Mayor Ling.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
thank you. Resolution 24-91 is our next matter of business. This is a memorandum of agreement with the Department of Public Safety to use ULISA program that is used to coordinate information shared across law enforcement agencies. So to the council for discussion or a motion.
Move for approval of resolution 24-91.
Second.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We'll now go to resolution 24-92. This would award a contract to MC Green and Sons for the Brighton Canal project in the amount of $2.2 million for stormwater utility fees. This project will include construction of storm drain piping through portions of the former Brighton Canal and eliminate any open stormwater ditches through the project area from Redwood Road to 2600 West. The project will also remove an old bridge over the former Brighton Canal at Decker Lake Boulevard. To the council for discussion or a motion.
Motion to approve resolution 24-92.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
And Mayor Ling.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
thank you. We'll now go to our consent agenda. All three items on our consent agenda are our typical real estate contracts, easements, and deeds. These three are all associated with the Lancer Way reconstruction project. To the council for discussion or a motion.
Motion to approve the 3 items on the consent agenda. Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
thank you. We do not have a need for a closed session tonight. So before we adjourn, I'd just like to remind you that we have 3 additional short meetings. And we have the redevelopment agency, the housing authority, and the municipal building authority. So our one last action item.
Move to adjourn.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And we stand adjourned.
I call to order the regular meeting of the redevelopment agency. Note that we have had an opening ceremony and all of our council members are present, including Mr. Hune, who's joining us online. We need to approve some minutes from our May 14th meeting.
I'd move for approval of those minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 Anyone against that motion? That is approved unanimously. We have a public hearing now for our fiscal year 2024-2025 budget. This resolution would adopt the annual budget of the redevelopment agency for the next fiscal year. I will now open the public comment period. Is there anyone here wishing to speak to this item? Hearing none, I will now close the public comment period and turn the time over to the agency for discussion or a motion.
Would motion to approve resolution 24-08.
Second.
Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. We'll turn to our secretary for the roll call vote.
Mr. Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Mr. Whitstone,
Yes.
Mr. Harmon,
Yes.
Mr. Hune,
Aye.
Ms. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Christensen,
Yes.
and Chairman Nordfelt.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
thank you. That concludes the business of the redevelopment agency. One final motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 We are adjourned.
Call to order the regular meeting of the Housing Authority of West Valley City. Note that we've had an opening ceremony. Roll call, all members of the authority are present, either electronically or in person. We have the minutes of May 7th. Approve.
Move to approve those minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Those pass. We now have public hearing. We're accepting public input regarding the reopening of the fiscal year 23-24 budget. This is the final budget opening for the Housing Authority of this budget and is to account for additional funds received by HUD. So I'll now open the public comment period. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this? Seeing or hearing none, I'll close the public comment period and turn the time over to the authority for discussion or a motion.
I would motion to approve resolution 24-04.
Second.
Motion and a second. Ms. Kamic?
Mr. Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Mr. Whitstone,
Yes.
Mr. Harmon,
Yes.
Mr. Hune,
Yes.
Ms. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Chairman Christensen.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Second action item tonight, we will accept public input regarding the fiscal year 2024
2025 budget. This resolution would adopt the annual budget of the Housing Authority for the 2024-25 fiscal year. I'll now open the public comment period. Is there anyone here wishing to speak on this item? Seeing or hearing none, I'll close the public comment period and turn it over to the authority.
Move to approve resolution 24-05.
Second?
Motion and a second. Ms. Kamic?
Mr. P.T. Simonu,
Aye.
Mr. Whitstone,
Yes.
Mr. Herman,
Yes.
Mr. Hune,
Yes.
Ms. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Chairman Christensen.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Last item on the agenda.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thank you. We'll call to the order the regular meeting of the Building Authority. We've had our opening ceremonies and our roll call. All members are present. Our first agenda item is the approval of the minutes of May 7th, 2024. Is there a discussion or a motion on those?
I move to approve those minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those minutes are approved. Our one item for the night is our public hearing for the fiscal year budget of 24-25. This resolution would adopt the annual budget for next year. I will now open the public comment period for this. Is there anyone that would like to speak on the budget for 24-25? Seeing none, I will close the public comment period and turn it over to the authority for discussion or a motion.
I move to approve resolution 24-02.
Second. Ms. Kamic?
Mr. P.T. Simonu,
Aye.
Mr. Whitstone,
Yes.
Mr. Hune,
Yes.
Ms. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Christensen,
Yes.
Mr. Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Chairman Herman.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We have one final motion for the night.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Adjourn. Thank you.